Moving on now to the Seriti Commission of Inquiry, where former Hawks investigator has testified of his frustrations and what he's terming a lack of political will, while probing alleged corruption in government's controversial 1999 arms deal. While Colonel Johan Du Plooy investigated the Zuma-Shaik-Nkobi leg of the arms deal for at least 7 years, he later wrote a memo to his senior recommending that the probe be shut down. Du Plooy was first summoned to appear at the Commission back in March 2013, but only started testifying yesterday. Now, you'll remember there was much controversy after a company with close business links to Zuma-Shaik was awarded that contract to fit electronic combat suites into 4 warships. Now, at the time, Shaik was then Deputy President Zuma's financial advisor. Du Plooy has testified how they seized about 25,000 documents in relation to the Shaik matter. He's also telling the Commission of various setbacks and problems regarding obtaining mutual legal assistance from foreign companies and countries, and he's refused to be drawn into whether or not the evidence of arms deal critic Andrew Feinstein would have added any value to the Commission. The hearing continues. Well, our reporter, that's Njanji Chalke, is monitoring proceedings at the Commission. He has been at the Commission all day today. He chats to us now from our Pretoria studio. Good afternoon, Njanji. You've had a busy day. Thank you for being with us on the PM News Desk.
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Du Plooy on the stand today, Njanji. Take us through the key points of his evidence and how compelling a case did he make? We know he did ask for postponement again, something that Judge Seriti did not grant.
Yes, what was very important about Colonel Johan Du Plooy's evidence is that here we're talking about a man who investigated the arms deal for about 10 years. He was charged with investigating the Sheikh Zuma-Nkobi holdings leg of the arms deal. You'll recall that Du Plooy was a member of the now defunct Hawks investigative unit, and then he testified how he went to Zuma-Shaik's home, where they seized thousands of documents as well as hard drives with information that implicated Zuma-Shaik. You will also remember that that information was also used to convict Zuma-Shaik in 2005. So he was one of the most important investigators in the Hawks when we talk about the arms deal.
Du Plooy, like you've alluded to, has always alleged that government officials may have received bribes to influence the awarding of those multi-million rand arms contracts. But what direct evidence or solid evidence did he present, if any at all, to this effect today, Njanji?
Keshni, despite what we've seen written in newspapers, the reports that we've had in our radios, on our TV screens as well, today, in the past 2 days, we've had Colonel Du Plooy saying, despite the red flags and all the information that they obtained, there was no concrete evidence whatsoever that any of the politicians, including people, middlemen like Fana Hlungwane, influenced the awarding of those contracts where those companies from abroad were awarded those multi-million rand contracts. He went as far as saying that even though we do know that money did exchange hands, Zuma-Shaik did give the then Deputy President, now President Jacob Zuma, some money. But so far, the investigation failed in terms of establishing the fact that politicians indeed did influence the awarding of contracts to certain companies.
We understand, Njanji, that 2 of the implicated companies will no longer testify. Can you tell us some more, please?
I think that is a major setback for the Seriti Commission, because people were looking forward to the testimony of representatives of BAE as well as SAB. You will remember that SAB and BAE are two of the 5 implicated companies. The other companies did come through and testify, but today there was a dramatic turnaround. We had the commission saying that the 2 companies will no longer come and testify. The only thing that they will be making is the submission of a statement. What is important about witnesses coming through to testify is that their evidence gets to be tested. You know, there are people, various interested legal teams that will then question those witnesses. So in this case, we've been told that the 2 companies will no longer come through and testify because apparently the people that were involved in terms of the procurement of those armaments no longer work for those 2 companies. So that's the reason that has been brought forward.
Njanji, we know that the Commission's term has been extended to June 30th. We just want to clarify the process forward. What happens after that? When will it issue the report? And is there some sort of time frame or deadline for the release of that report?
Keshni, you will remember that this commission has been ongoing for almost over 3 years. There's been a lot of delays. There's been one delay after another. We saw this commission adjourning as some of the witnesses refused to cooperate with the commission. Even today, they were highlighting the fact of those 3 arms deal critics that chose to jump ship from the commission. People like Andrew Feinstein. Colonel Du Plooy was questioned about Andrew Feinstein today. He was asked whether or not does he think that the evidence of Andrew Feinstein would have added value to the commission. So going forward, as I speak to you, the commission has adjourned until the 22nd of next month. From that day, we'll be seeing the various legal teams coming through to give their closing arguments. And I suppose the various legal teams, especially lawyers representing government, will milk that process for what is worth, because this is their chance to really try and show that the politicians were not corrupt, they were not involved in corruption, they did not influence the awarding of those multi-million rand contracts, Keshni.
Njanji Chauke covering the Seriti Commission of Inquiry for us, which we understand has been adjourned until the 22nd of June for closing arguments.